Good afternoon. Let me just make sure that I am live. It looks like I am live. Good afternoon. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. So happy that you're here with me today. So today I have a birthday card using the Queen Bee stamps and die set, and this is a fun fold. It is a standing pop-up card, and that is the profile of the card, and it does indeed stand up on its own. So a nice display card for some pretty die cuts and pretty paper, and it does fold up to fit inside a standard A2 card. Hey Mary, thanks so much for joining, appreciate it. Credit goes to Jeanne Moss with Bluegrass Stamper. Jeanne is where I got the idea for this fun fold. So let's get started. So we have a card base that measures 10.5 by 4 1/4, and this is scored at a 1/2 inch, 1 3/4 inches, 3 3/4 inches, and 5 inches. And then we have what I'm calling the pop-up piece, and this is 5 inches by 3 inches. Hey Karen, thanks so much for joining. Rosie, thanks for joining. And this 5 by 3 piece is scored at a 1/2 inch and 1 3/4 inches. So this is called a standing pop-up card. And I just thought it was really cute and fun. So let's get started here. We're going to go ahead and put our base together first. And these are all mountain folds on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and take my bone folder and just go ahead and get a nice crease on those score lines. There we go. So essentially, if you can see, this will, fold up to create a box, and that's our standing portion of the card. So what we're going to do is we are going to fold this. Let me think about this. I have to look at my sample. We are going to fold this card at the 1 3/4 mark and the 5/4 mark. Is that right? That looks right. The 1 3/4, did I get that right? 1 3/4, let me fold that flap down, and then the 5. And that should, yes, okay, that's right. So those first two score lines get folded in. I'm going to go ahead and use some liquid glue on this 1/2 inch tab. So that's the score line between the 1/2 inch and 1 3/4 mark. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it at this last score line, which is the 5 inch score line. And I'm just going to go ahead and fingers crossed that that's right. If not, I'll be cutting another card base. Just give that a good press and make sure that it's adhered. And phew, good, we're good. Alrighty. And what I need to do is I do have a couple of DSP panels already cut, and these are from the 2021-2023 In Color 6x6 Designer Series paper pack, and I've chosen Pale Papaya. And by the way, the card base is Old Olive, really pretty colors together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my two DSP panels onto the card base before we attach the pop-up section of the card. Rosie, I was thinking about you. I know you're getting more, I just made a big mess of that. I know that you're getting more snow. You poor things. Hopefully not too bad for you. Okay, there we go. And this goes on the front of the box that we just formed. Just like that. Give that a little press. Okay, good. And you can fold this flat if you need to. That works. I can feel adhesive on the back of my card. Let me get rid of this. That's going to drive me crazy. I got a little carried away putting that first piece of DSP on. All right. I think we're good. Okay. And let me see here. Here's our pop-up piece, and we'll go ahead and get these. -7 and 6 inches of snow already today. I think you're going to get snow through Thursday, I think is what I heard, Rosie. Yuck. Rosie likes snow, Mary says. Oh, Ma, you had ice too. You're stuck at home. That's no fun. That is no fun. Okay, so this is our pop-up mechanism. And you know what? Let me go ahead and get this other piece of DSP adhered to this section before I do anything else. Yeah, bad weather. We have been so lucky here on the East Coast this winter. We really have. It has not been... Boy, I am just not having luck with my DSP today. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. Okay, there we go, there we go. Okay, so to adhere this piece, I am going to fold down at the 1 3/4 inch score line, and I'm going to fold that flat. And this is going to get adhered. We are going to, I'm just going to put my fingers up here at the top of the card, and that piece is going to sit flush and then centered from left to right. So I can go ahead and apply some glue to that 1/2 inch tab on this section, on the pop-up section. Hopefully I didn't get too much. And then I am going to just center that and make sure it's flush with the top of the card. Okay, just make sure it's adhered down there good. I really did make a mess with the glue. All right. Now, to adhere the bottom portion of the pop-up to our card base. Hey, Faith, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. Oh, no, Faith, I'm sorry. You're not feeling good. Very sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. So what we're going to do is we are going to fold the box portion of our base card forward, and then just fold down this this pop-up section of the card. And we want to make sure that the card is completely flat when we glue this down. I am going to apply glue just to about a 1/4 inch of the pop-up section. Fold this front completely flat, and then we're going to fold this portion flat. Yeah, Faith, I hopefully you've got some meds to help you, and doesn't get too bad for you. Keep us posted on how you're doing. It is no fun. And I'm just going to hold this for a second, make sure it's nice and set up. And I think I'm done with that messy glue here for a minute. All right, so that is our card. And we can go ahead and get to the decorating. I did pre-cut some pieces and I pre-stamped as well because you just didn't need to see me coloring all of this stuff. I did pre-color the bee and this was stamped from the Queen Bee stamp set. And she's quite pretty, and I used the coordinating dies to cut her out. She has a heart at the center just below her head, and that was colored with Sweet Sorbet. I used the light shade of Pale Papaya, and then I used Early Espresso to stamp her in, and Early Espresso dots the center of the flowers. The leaves are in the light shade of Old Olive. And then I cut out one of these, and this is all cut out of white, and I'll share that with you here why in a minute, but I cut out two small sprigs, one of these kind of half wreath sprigs, and then I cut out 3 of the large flowers and 3 of the small flowers, and I've got those here. And I'm just going to take my Stampin' Blends, and then I did my sentiment labels already, just again so that you guys didn't have to see me coloring all this stuff. But you know what? Before I get to coloring, I do want to stamp. So I didn't share this with you when I first showed the card, but because there's nowhere to write, you know, it doesn't open up like a standard card. I did include a panel on the back of the card that you can write it, you know, a sentiment, a personal sentiment. So I do want to stamp this floral image on my panel. So let's get that done, and I am going to stamp that in Early Espresso ink. I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here. Trying to keep my grid paper. I just put this grid paper down. I'm trying to keep it nice for a little while at least, for more than 2 hours. Okay, there we go. Since I'm going to be coloring, I'll need to color that in as well. But I wanted to share with you why I like to color in these little pieces. You know, and it's just a personal preference. But I am going to use the light shade of Old Olive for the leaves. And let me just make sure I have the marker tip. And the leaves are going to be in the light shade. And you don't have to be super careful, right, if you get it on the stems. But I like the variation in color that using the Stampin' Blends gives you. So that's why I chose to color these. And again, if I get, you know, if I get the light shade on the stems, it doesn't matter. Try to make quick work of this. I always say that, and then it always takes longer than I expect. Now let me get these two little guys colored in. Now on my original card there is a tiny little heart die that you can die cut, and I actually did die cut a heart for my sample card. On this card today, or for today, I colored in the heart with the Stampin' Blend. So you could do either, whatever your preference, but I am telling you what, it is a tiny little heart. And it was tricky to glue on, it was so tiny. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to come in with the dark shade of Old Olive, and I'm going to go ahead and just color in the stems. And I am not going back to shade. It's such a small image. I don't think you really need to. But I love the variation that the two different tone markers give this. And that dark is really dark. And there's just one spot that I slipped a little bit, so I'll just blend that out a little bit. And see another spot I missed. I'm looking at the sides of the cutouts because I really don't want a lot of white showing if I can help it. It looks like I have pretty good coverage there, so that's good. Oh, you know what? I'm going to grab this light shade of Old Olive again and color in the leaves on the stamped image for the panel that will go on the back of the card. And these are so tiny. My goodness, these are tiny. And I just went outside the line. I'll show you how I'll fix that here in just a minute. It's very hard to color something so like a little gnat. That's how small it is. These images. And I did get outside the lines here. I'm going to take my Stampin' Blend color lifter and just come back and clean up those areas that I got a little crazy in. And when that dries, you're not going to be able to see that. I'm going to take my light shade of Pale Papaya and just color in the blossoms here real quick. I think I said I colored the centers with early espresso, and that's not true. I used the dark shade of soft suede, but it's dark. It looks as dark as, to me, as the early espresso when you color it. Okay, almost done here. Flowers are a little easier to color. They're a little bit bigger than a gnat. Yeah, and this is the dark shade of soft suede, and I'm just going to dot the centers of the flowers where needed. And that's that. Okay, now we have our little flowers here. And I think I only used one large flower on, I used two large flowers, okay. And did I just lose all my little, I just lost my flowers. Let me grab those. They got scooched under the paper there. So I only need two of the large, and then I need the three small. And all I did for these, this is the light shade of Pale Papaya. I did not color all the way out to the edges. I just kind of flicked the color from the center outwards on these flowers, just to give them a little bit of color. I wanted to leave the edges white since the paper I'm using is Pale Papaya. I didn't want, you know, they would blend right in with the paper. So I just wanted to flick a little color out onto the flowers. I'm not being careful at all, very organic. And then I'm coming back with the dark shade of soft suede, and I am going to color in those flower centers. And then we'll be ready to decorate our card here in just a minute. And that's all we need. Okay, I think we are all done coloring there. Scooch those aside. I'm going to go ahead and glue my back panel on. Mary, that never happens to you? Yeah. When you lose something, it drives you crazy, doesn't it? All right, I'm just going to fold my card flat here and get my panel adhered down. See, this is why I like glue. Goodness gracious. All right. We will call that good. Okay. So we can start decorating our card here. I got some other pieces trying to sneak under the paper over here. I've got my 2 sentiments. Obviously, the happy goes up here at the top. Let me grab some dimensionals. I forgot to get some dimensionals out. Just grab an old sheet here. I'm going to live it up today, and I'm going to use whole dimensionals. Oh, you know what I wanted to do to my sentiment labels first? Let me do that. I've got some pale papaya ink here. I wanted to use, not more than twice per video. You crack me up. Oh, goodness, I know. And it drives you crazy, doesn't it? I just want to blend a little bit of pale papaya around my sentiment labels. And this color is so light, you can really, you know, usually I tap off. This color is so light that you really can just go ahead and apply it directly. I don't recommend that with the other colors. You may end up with a lot of streaks. But I just want to go around the edge just to give it a little bit of color. And that'll be good enough. Put this away. And like I said, I'm going to use whole dimensionals today. I'm going to live it up. The other day, in fact, I think I was on Mary's Zoom the Craft Room call on Monday, and I was using whole dimensionals, and I told everybody, I said, this feels decadent using whole dimensionals. I usually use the half dimensionals. And all I want to do is center this greeting as best I can, and that looks fairly good to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom greeting on. Turn it the right side up, that would be helpful. And I'm just going to fold my card flat here. Now be mindful, that's the bottom of your card. So this is going to, it should fit right in there. Okay. You just want to make sure that it's above, you know, the bottom of the card so it closes. And next we are going to put our large leaf section on, and I just hopefully don't get carried away with the glue this time. I just want to put some tiny little dots of glue to hold this down. Hopefully that's enough. And I am going to put this on the bottom. And turn that right and make sure that it looks good. And that looks good to me. I'm just going to gently press it down. And then I'm going to take one of our larger flowers, and I like to kind of just Hey Mom, thanks so much for joining. I like to kind of just turn the petals up just to give them a little bit more dimension, and I am going to glue this down. So I'm just going to add a dot of glue at the center of our leaves there and go ahead and get this down and just hold that for a second. And then we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensional, and I've got a couple of short lengths of the Early Espresso faux suede ribbon. It's one of my favorite ribbons, I think. And I'm just going to put some small strips. Me and Stampin' Seal don't get along. Some small strips, and then I can go ahead and trim this ribbon, which I probably will need to do. But I'm just kind of going on the diagonal, and I'm going to lay those down. And again, I will be coming back to probably trim these up. And I'm just seeing, make sure I have the right side up. And I'm just laying these right next to each other. And let me grab my ribbon scissors here. I am going to wait though and get my bee put down. And he's going down. She's going down. She's a queen bee. It's not a he. She is going down with dimensionals. Excuse me. Let me just grab a drink here real quick. Okay, that's better. So we'll get our dimensional covers off. Maybe. And I just want to make sure she's centered here on our panel. Get my fingers out of the way will be good. And make sure she's straight up and down. And that looks good. All right. And I want another small flower. And again, I'm just going to shape it up. Add a little drop of glue to the back. And I'm going to put one right there on her pop-up panel. And let's get another one. She is a big queen bee. This bee is so pretty. I would really, since my business name is Inky Bee Stampers, I would love to do a collage with this set. I think that might be kind of neat. And I'm going to put another small flower just to the right of the happy sentiment label. And then our third small flower is going to go on the birthday sentiment label on the opposite side. Like that. Make sure they're sticking down. And then I've got this last large one. And I'm going to put this, whoops, put this over here on the left side. And just kind of drop it down a little bit. Just like that. And then for our two leaf sprigs, these are going to get tucked in on either side of the sentiment labels. And the sentiment label that I use to die cut the sentiments out, the label is actually in this die set, so that's super handy. And I just want to tuck that in kind of under the label. Okay, got a little messy with the glue there. I'm having a time with the glue today. All right, and then grab the last leaf sprig. And this one's getting tucked under over here. Whoops. Come on. Guess it'd be helpful if I laid that flat. That works a little better. All right. And then I'm going to use a couple of, thank you, Mary. I'm going to use a couple of the iridescent pastel gems. And they have kind of a white gem that I think is super pretty. And honestly, these gems pick up pretty much whatever color, in my opinion, whatever color you put them next to. I'm going to put a gem on our top sentiment label here opposite our flower. And then I'm going to do the same down here at the bottom on our bottom sentiment label. And opposite, again, the flower. And then let's put, I ran out of medium-sized gems, but let's put a large one. And these things really, really sparkle. They are super pretty. Let's put a large one there. And now we can come in and kind of trim up our ribbon. I want to leave my ribbon, I want to leave one strand longer than the other. So let's do that. And actually that other one looks pretty good. I think, well, I need that one more time. We are almost done here. Just trying to move stuff out of my way so I can find what I need. I did go ahead and pre-stamp and colored the envelope. Again, you guys don't need to be watching me do all of that coloring. Go ahead and put a coordinating piece of DSP on our envelope flap, because we can't have any naked envelopes. Give that a good press down. And I'm going to grab my paper snips and just trim around our envelope flap, and we will be done. Okay. And that is our card for today. So very pretty, freestanding. Great to show off some pretty papers and pretty die cuts. But that's it. All of the instructions will be on my blog tomorrow morning. And this card actually was designed for the Happy Inkin Thursday blog hop. So all of the links will be on my blog tomorrow. So if you'd like to participate in the hop and check out a lot of great inspiration, my team members are super creative. And so there's always lots of nice eye candy on the blog hop every Thursday. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget, we are just days away from celebration ending. If you haven't grabbed your, earned your free celebration products, get on that. Stampin' Up! Just refreshed their clearance rack, and they added stamp sets to the clearance rack. I don't expect those stamp sets to last very long, honestly, in clearance. So go check them out. You can find a link to my online shop on inkybstampers.com. And then also we have a joining promotion for $129. You can choose either the boho blue or the white mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss plus $175 in products if you join during celebration, or you can pay the usual $99 and still get $175 in product for your starter kit. Starter kits ship for free. Great time to join. Best deal ever. I would love to have you join my team, so I hope you think about it and consider it. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you back here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.